Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. My name is Chiwe Chihana, and I'll be the host of tonight's session. I'll be speaking to author Ife Adenuga, who's amazing in so many ways in her own right, but also she's mother extraordinaire to four of the foremost creatives in the United Kingdom. So we'll be talking about her book, Endless Fortune, and there's so much to unpack in there, and I am excited to host her. Good evening, Ife, sorry.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us. Before we get into it, I just want to remind everybody about the COVID rules, but it's such an honor to have you on stage. So you have a one-way system in which to come in. Please abide by that. And if you need to go out to the bar or to the toilet, just walk out on the alleys on either side of you. We have a one-person policy per toilet, so we've got 2 sets of toilets. And one is gender neutral, one is female only. So if we only have one person in those toilets, that would be lovely. We're operating on a theater and cinema basis, so unfortunately you all have to have your masks on whilst seated. So please, if you can do that. Thank you very much. Ife.
Yes.
Welcome to Sheffield.
Thank you.
We've had an amazing hour talking to each other, but could you say hello to these lovely Sheffield people?
Hello, everyone. The first time I come to Sheffield, and I'm enjoying it. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. It's quite interesting because there's so many angles we could have taken this conversation, but I think we've just decided that we're just going to go with the flow.
Get on with it.
Because we want to get underneath the hood and just understand who this amazing woman is, because that's what she talks about in her book, Endless Fortune. So we first came across you at the 2016 Mercury Prize Awards. You became famous.
I don't know about that.
Inadvertently. So in case you haven't picked up yet, Ife is Skepta's mother. Ife is Beats Radio 1 Julie's mother. Mm-hmm. Ife is grime artist Jamie's mother. And Ife is producer Jason's mother. So I don't know if you're keeping count. So, Mom Extraordinaire, you're from a migrant community like me.
Yes.
And this is your son. He's got this prize. The winner is Skepta. What's happening to you?
Before he won, we're sitting in the front row because he performed that the night. So, Dad and I were sitting in the front row having champagne and the rest of it. So, I kind of, when he got to Jarvis Cocker, announcing the winner, so I bent over to him. I said, Nadia, just in case you win, have you got any acceptance speech prepared? He goes, no, Mom. I said, okay, don't worry about it. Let's just enjoy it. Don't worry about it. Because I wasn't expecting him to win. There was 1975 there. David Bowie was competing. Umbrella, or whatever that lady's name, I love her so much. The bald-head lady was there. They were real artists that interested me all there. I said, not to worry about it. Let's just enjoy it. And then when Jarvis Cocker, when the winner is, before you could do like that, people are screaming Skepta. I'm going, oh, these are grime heads. That's why they're screaming Skepta, Skepta. You know, Skepta went, oh, I felt like flying out of the place. And everybody is throwing champagne. I just grabbed a bottle of red wine. And it was all over Keno's mom. Keno,
Oh, yeah,
Keno is
yeah,
also
Keno, yeah.
an artist, yes. I went, ooh, I grabbed him, wanted to kind of put him back in my stomach. I said, no, they want him over there. Oh, yeah, go. Oh. It was out of this world. Trust me, I didn't know how it made me feel. But as at that time,
Yeah.
I said to myself, this is where I'm going. I've gotten there. Now I can go and write my book. I swear, that was when I made the decision to write this book.
That was the moment.
That was the moment I said, what if he can win this Mercury Hyundai Award? Because there was a time when, I can't remember the names of the artists, and he missed the Mobo.
Oh, yeah.
So he came to our bedroom, Daddy and I, in the bed, and I said to him, I said, you okay, Gino? He goes, yeah, I'm fine. I said, are you upset that you did with? He goes, no, Mom, that's not what I'm with. I said, what are you with? He goes, I want the Mercury. It was like as if he knew that that's what he wanted to win. So when he won that, I went, yes, now I can go away and write my book. So that was when I made the decision to write the book, because I didn't believe he could achieve that.
Yeah.
And
on that stage, where we
day.
see you almost collapsing, this is you thinking, I'm writing a book. From all those memoirs you've been writing since you were
I
a
gathered
child.
everything, spread it out on my bed, and I started joining them together. I must write this book now that I got here. I know. It was a very, very interesting evening.
Yeah.
From there, we moved on to the after party, BBC, ITV. Everybody's asking me questions, and I'm going, gosh, they're going to swallow me. What's going on? And some people are saying to me, could you explain to us how you train? I said, I didn't train my kids. I raised them. Mm-hmm. I'm not training them. They're not. You train dogs to behave like particular way. Well, human being, you raise a human being. You kind of become a scaffolding for human beings, watch them grow, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
You talk a lot about how you raised your kids in your book. Mostly you draw from what you did not get to do.
Absolutely.
And also a sense of, there's a moment in your life where you just realize that you wanted to be happy for yourself, and you're not going to be doing things for other people anymore. And that's kind of informed the journey that your kids have been on, and now we have these amazing stars in the United Kingdom from our community. What influenced that hybrid personality or identity that you've got?
The fact that growing up myself, my mom, my dad never said I love you. Growing up, I didn't know what it means for a parent to say to a child, come here, love, I love you, darling, don't be long. I wasn't used to all that. So it's like I'm growing up imagining what it would feel like. So when I had my own kids, I said, I'm going to do everything I missed. I'm going to give it to them.
Right.
So nothing was constructed. I wasn't using any conscious construction of this is how I'm going to raise them. This is what I'm going to say to them. No. I was just making sure that all that I didn't get, I'm going to give it to my kids. To see I want to see a child happy. Because I wasn't abused, but I wasn't happy. Like, I grew up during the war. I was on the go. Whatever my mom, my dad are doing, I'm doing the same thing. So I never knew what it was to be a happy child, like to really be happy. Where I can't remember my parents taking me to the shopping and buying me some trainers or buying me some. No, I didn't know all that.
Yeah.
So raising my own kids, and luckily for me, I met somebody who thinks the way I think.
Yeah.
So the two of us were able to make that pact to say we were beating black and blue. Our own kids, nobody should touch them like that. And we will make sure that they are happy. And that's what I just followed mine. We just followed our instincts. Absolutely. And I was happy seeing them enjoying what they were doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that made me feel like a parent, really. So I don't know how my parents felt, but I know they loved me somehow. But all that happiness I didn't get, I kind of invested it in my children.
That's a phenomenal story. So just to recognize the presence of the man behind all this story, that's also partnered with her through the journey, Mr. Adenuga, welcome.
Joseph Senior.
So I was sat with both of you in the back, and the love and admiration. You literally were just looking at each other, not looking at me when talking. So I want to get you to read a little bit about your arrival in London before you met him and the kids came along.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Right. What I've got here, I thought I would read from, just to show the culture shock that first hit me when I got here. I want to read from when I boarded the plane to come to England. I boarded my flight and everything was as I had expected. I was on the outer seat next to a young man seated by the window. He must have sensed I was nervous as I constantly sought the attention of the cabin crew from helping me fasten my seatbelt to switch off my overhead lights for me. I was getting ready for when we entered the clouds and crossed over to England. I thought England was behind the cloud. Cross over to England while at the same time shaken by the thought of being suspended mid-air. This was it, the real thing. I was prepared for the life-changing experience of visiting the white man's land beyond the clouds in the sky. But I was not prepared for the frightening experience I had with the plane taking off and reaching its height before my fright evaporated. I let out a mumbled scream each time I felt the aircraft jolt in any way as it leaped into the air and continued to climb up. Slowly but gradually, we were reaching for the clouds above us. The guy next to me sought to calm me down from time to time. My new friend had been doing his best to make me feel comfortable all through the journey. He must have known this was my first flight to anywhere. I had told him my name when he asked earlier on as he continued his comforting. And even though he told me Ogbonna was his first name, I was far more concerned about the immediate threat I was facing mid-air. At last, I could feel the plane descending. There didn't seem to be any panicky passengers on board that flight but me. I mean, visibly panicking. And I had to pull myself together every now and then. The tires touched the ground. The plane raced for what seemed like miles and miles before slowly taxiing to a halt on the tarmac close to the gigantic spread of the airport building that one will make out of that autumn evening. As we walked down the steps of the plane, the cold September wind felt like all the harmattan I had ever experienced put together. My jeans and silk blouse were both inadequate. My jeans and silk blouse were both inadequate and far from the winter clothing I was supposed to have had on. Even Ogbonna had a massive suede coat on. I nearly didn't recognize him as we made our way off the tarmac area. I had only brought what I was wearing for my maiden London trip. How wrong I was. My good friend became my guide as I dragged my one and only piece of hand luggage and walked briskly to keep up with him. From then on, he communicated with me in Igbo. He must have sourced it out from my surname. He asked me for my destination and I handed him a scribbled piece of paper from inside my diary with my godfather's Forest Hill address. We walked into the airport building and through to the border checkpoints with the rest of the passengers. There we all split into queues with information hanging above us, all of which I didn't pay much attention to as long as I was with Ogbonna. It was such a blessing my God was on hand that day as I could hardly understand the Englishman at the border desk. He spoke so fast, albeit softly, that I could neither make a word of what he was saying, nor was I able to assist him to help me. My guide was my mouthpiece, who informed the officer of the reason for my visit. My passport was stamped, and my guide waved me to come along with him as he too finished and collected his passport. We collected his 2 suitcases, which he stacked on the trolley, and off we were again through the nothing to declare route and out into the arrival hall. The lack of noisy atmosphere that I was used to back home, plus the chilly weather, reminded me I was in a completely different territorial part of the world. We walked with the trolley, this time with my hand luggage thrown on top, as some of our few passengers on the same flight hastily breezed past. I couldn't help wondering what spot on planet Earth this must be, where no one looked at or spoke to anyone other than who they were with. Something I had never experienced before, and didn't get it at first quickly. I didn't get it at first quickly, frankly. I felt like an alien as I walked hastily side by side with my good Samaritan pushing our trolley. Approaching us as we emerged into the arrival hall was a lady looking all excited. She was stood with other people behind the barriers. Some were holding up placards with names on them as we came out. The lady hurried to Obonna, embraced, and kissed him. They took their time kissing, and as I looked around, I spotted quite a number of people doing the same, almost the same thing, hugging and chatting cheerfully with each other. There were men, women, and children everywhere. I had begun to loosen up, seeing how relaxed and cheerful people were all around me, and nobody seemed perturbed by what I was spaced out about. It was a rude awakening, to say the least. Ify, my girlfriend, Chika, Ubona introduced me before lowering his head to Chika. Honey, this is Ify. We flew in together. She's from Okigwe, and she works with Nigerian Airways. Chika and I shook hands. My sister, you're welcome. How is the family over there? They are fine, thanks, I replied. Darling, I got you a ticket. She got it out of her jeans pocket and showed my guide. And we started to walk with him still pushing the trolley. And then there was silence except for sounds of people moving things around and the airport announcements at intervals. Even the air conditioning was starting to get to me. I was feeling differently indeed. Obonna Chika called to get my guide's attention, who was a few steps ahead of us with the trolley. Hold on, let's get Ify ticket. Chika went off while we waited for her. She walked back and gave me the ticket, put it away to show the ticket collector at London Bridge. Thank you, I replied. We went up and down the stairs of the winding corridors to get to the airport train station, underground station, Heathrow underground station. I was reading the signs on the wall as we waited. We are taking the train home. We will change at Green Park for the Jubilee line to London Bridge. Chika was informing me, still in Obonna's embrace. The train was jam-packed with passengers. We managed to get on with our luggages, but all the seats were already taken, and so we stood in the aisle with other people holding onto the rail handles for safety. And my new friends were still regarding each other like they had been apart for centuries, still hugging and kissing even more as the train screeched and crept along the tracks. They kissed each other without a care in the world. And these are my fellow Igbo brethren living in London, I thought to myself. Some 40 minutes or so into our journey, the train came to a halt. Get ready to get down, Ify. We got to change here, Chika said. One by one, we brought out our luggage. We got onto the second train, and 6 or so minutes later, we arrived at London Bridge Station. Obonna got out the paper I had given him with my uncle's address on it and said, I'm going to call Mr. Formata, that's my uncle's name, Mr. Formata, when we get home, and tell him I'll put you in a taxi to Forest Hill. Is a bit far from our house in Tooley Street. All right, thank you, I replied, as we moved along till we got to the foot of an escalator. We were out of the station. Come on, Chika was saying to me, what about our luggage? And I'm afraid of going up those moving steps. Don't worry, we will come back for it. Let's take you up first, Obonna said. My eyes rolled. My eyes rolled into their socket each time I tried looking up the escalator. I can't imagine why I never associated the escalator with those in Kingsway stores where I once worked. I never once got attempted to ride it. I would buzz around the environment watching people go up and down as I listened and hummed the songs playing on the tannoy. It took us more than 5 minutes to get up the escalator. I'll call your uncle as soon as we get home. Obonna reassured me as we dragged our luggage out of the station. I'll tell him you are with us, so not to worry. Let's get dinner first, then we'll call you a taxi. I felt so much at home seeing that they were Nigerians and Igbos for that matter. We arrived at their building and took the lift to the second floor. I was glad to finally sit on the couch after the whole journey. Chika wasted no time serving the meal she already prepared before coming to the airport. It was interesting to eat exactly what I would normally crave for back home. We had a goosey soup with stockfish and assorted meats, including shaki, tripe, and fuku, which is lungs. The couple's dinner table chat trailed off beyond me as they talked to catch up for however long they've been apart while I enjoyed the food. Didn't know you could cook a goosey and bitter leaf here. We got them from the local market. They sell everything here, Chika replied. I also noticed that the room was warmer than I had felt outside since my arrival, and was shown the radiator which was on and heating the room. Wow, I remember when my granny died and we had to sleep away from home on a raised wooden bed at Uncle Willie's house. We had a fire underneath to keep us warm in the mud house in the Harmattan season. This was different. I was fed and watered, and I couldn't be more grateful. Ubwana had called and spoken to my uncle's wife, who thanked him and was at home waiting for me. They put me in a taxi at about 9 o'clock to go to Forest Hill.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So before I get into talking about what you've just read, can I just recognize the presence of all our online viewers? We're going to have a Q&A later on, so if you could all start thinking of questions, those online at migrationmattersfestival.co.uk. If you click on the stage, you'll be able to send in your questions and I'll be able to pick them up. Here, I've got a laptop, so please join in the conversation. Ife.
Yes.
Can we have some water, please?
Is here. Thank you. Go.
So Ife, your Igbo brother and sister were kissing.
I know.
And you were shocked.
It was a rude
I mean, the cultural shocks tend to be varied. The escalator problem, I think I've experienced that before. But when it comes to the kissing, the social aspects, your children are grime artists.
Yeah.
So how did you move from being that iffy
Thank you.
to the iffy who actually was the backbone of these children that are in grime, and grime is usually looked at and like, whoa.
It wasn't planned, but because of the kind of family foundation we laid, they fell in love first with they fell in love with the house, the home. Mm-hmm. We didn't know it, because that is in computer science. So as I designed, he worked with a cash converter. So you come up with game console, what else? Electrical gadgets, and nothing is out of bound for my kids. Mm-hmm. The children, the living room was their, I don't know, their theater. They do drama there, they dance, they go on the computer, they go on the sound system, they bring their friends to come and watch them play music on their daddy's turntable and the rest of it. So they already had that built that interest in what was in the house. So when it now came to the idea of passing out from secondary school to sixth form and moving on to uni, Junior comes out, Skepta comes out, secondary school. Yeah, Mom, Dad, I don't want to go to university, I want to do music. Go, okay.
This is an African parent.
Yeah, we said, okay, 1 down, 3 to go. This was 1995, I think, or 96, when Tupac died. My baby was wearing bandana on his head and with Machiavelli's alive on his chest, walking everywhere. He was a walking boom thing in the house. He would play music and the rest of it. JME realized that we are not that affair with Junior not going to. He quickly went, Greenwich University. Fine. We went, yes. At least one person is going to go and do 3D graphic designing. The first year was on the news. Him and his mates, they created a radio station at university. And I'm going, okay. What's radio station got to do with the... We left it there. Julie comes along, went to University of East London. At the end of 1 year, Mom, everybody is there. They all adults. I can't make friends there. They all older students. I can't. And I'm going, hey, what do we then do? She went to go and do event management. Before you know it, they started, then IKEA just come out to, not England, but to Edmonton, where we lived. So she was one of the first staff there. From IKEA, she jumped to Apple shop floor in Brent Cross. From there, she jumped to Rins FM. All this jumping up and down, we didn't know. We just know tomorrow Julie is here. The day after, Julie is there. Before you know it, Apple is head hunting her to launch their Radio Beat One thing. And I'm going, this girl, we don't even know what she's doing. Never mind wanting to do this. Anyway, the youngest brother, who's Jason, come out, wants to do computer animation. So the fact that they had that love of electronic, IT and everything in the house, it kind of, this is my own judgment, it kind of molded their interest in what they wanted to do. And we saw that they were doing what they were doing and they were liking it, they were good at it, I didn't have any other option than to drive them around and hold the wire gauze up for them to sneak in to go and play their radio. And as soon as they finish, they text me, "Mom, finished." I go on 3310 phone. And you know how you have to go from Y to Z. I've got OK saved there. As soon as I hear, "Mom, we are finished, we're coming out now," I go, "Okay." I'll wait. As soon as Daddy doesn't know.
Well, you know, Migration Masters Festival is
usually
showing
at night, isn't it? So I'll drive them, we go home, and they come home. So I like the fact that I knew where they were. Because don't forget, we lived in Tottenham. Tottenham was your socially deprived area, gun crime, knife crime, youth crime. Me, it didn't bother me. So long as I know where my kids are, so long as I know what they are doing. It got to a stage where I said to myself, okay, I'm going to get involved with this community. And that's how I got involved into community development thing. So as I'm doing that, my children can see I'm working with the police as well. I say, you do anything wrong, I'm going to hand you over to the police. And that was just enough for them to work on. Plus the fact that they were enjoying what they were doing. So they say, if it's not broken, you don't mend it. So there's no point asking them to go and do law, go and do medicine, go and do... No. Do what you like doing. And luckily for us, they're making a living from it. And the rest is history.
And they're happy. Yes.
And they are happy. That's the most important thing. They are happy doing it.
And I think that speaks a lot to, I think a lot of people like me from migrant families, you've got this structured way of being expected to either be a medical doctor, an architect, an engineer. But you broke from that completely. Which is in contrast again to the family values you seem to have, because I was telling you earlier that this to me is like a Bible about family values, the kind of family values that I think for me are lost in my British identity. But when I look at my Zambian identity, my extended family is everything. And you've documented this with an actual family tree. What was the impetus? What drives you when it comes to your family? And then also breaking from culture. It's very complicated in my head for me.
When I got here, don't forget, I've been running away from something. From childhood, I've always run away from something. If I'm not running away from the war, I'm running away from my parents asking me to do this, because I'm the first child, isn't it? It's me doing everything. It's me. In fact, I promised myself, I said, I only want one daughter. And I don't want her the first, because she's going to be short. Because if she should do everything I did, she's not going to be tall. That's why I'm 5'3". Because I'm always carrying this or doing that. And I said to myself, if I have a girl, she's not going to do anything, and I don't want her at the beginning. I just want her.
If you wait,
in the
your
middle.
Daughter is actually not a first child. She's in the middle.
That's what I'm saying.
You just wished it.
I just wish that if I have a girl, I don't care where she is. I just want one. I could only deal with one. And that one, I'm not going to send her carry this, carry that, because I didn't like me being told to do all that thing. And I couldn't complain. You know, you can't complain to your parents. No. Who are you?
You carry the family.
You have to do it.
And for context, you come from a family of 11.
Absolutely. So I'm the first.
And the eldest.
Exactly. So growing up, I knew all that I was doing that was keeping me holding on to my what I wanted to do. Because I don't discuss it with anybody. Nobody. If I went, what is in there? Your name is Patience. You should have patience. don't. And I go, no, I just want to know what is in. Take your hand up. So I didn't want to do all that to my children, because I said to myself, if only they listened to me, they will know that I wasn't crazy. I just wanted to understand. I wanted to know. So growing up, all those things that I missed, I was really, really gearing up to give my kids. Until when I got here, I realized to separate, to discern my cultural identity from what lesson or what knowledge I needed to have to live a good. If I wanted freedom and happiness, there are things I needed to know. Not just my culture and my tradition. My culture, my tradition identify who I am. I'm a woman. I'm a black woman. I'm an African woman. I'm a Nigerian. I come from Igbo land. Those are my identity.
Yeah.
It shouldn't identify how I live my life. So for me to live my life, I need social culture. I need to understand everybody else out there, where they're coming from, how they do things, what they like, where do I meet halfway with them, where do I agree with them. So culture, for me, I didn't want my culture to kind of conscript me where everything that serves my culture, that's all I'm going to do. No, my culture is to identify me. But my social culture is for me to understand that the world is bigger than me and my culture.
Yeah.
The world includes everybody else, everything else. So until I began to learn that, and it helped me in raising my kids. Because some people, I have family friends, I have extended families where their children, the first thing they say to their children as soon as they get into their teens, don't you ever bring police to my house. I didn't do that to my kids. No. I told them, I said, if you want the police to be your friend, you stay out of trouble. If you're not out of trouble, police can never be your friend. So there's nothing you're coming come and tell me about police that I don't understand. Does that make sense to you?
I'm hearing you.
So culture, I was able to put culture where it belongs. Yes? And then to allow me to understand the rest of the world. Because without the knowledge of the rest of the world, all I know is my culture. So if they bring, I don't know, sushi now, hey, I don't eat that, we don't eat that. No, you're not hungry. Because if you're hungry, you eat it. You eat it. You will. I'm not going to say because I'm hungry, I'm going to eat Nigerian cuisine, that maybe I'll have to stand 2.5 hours in the kitchen preparing it. When I can order Nando's with chicken and rice and feel, at the end of the day, is to quench my what is it? My hunger.
Your hunger.
Yeah, so I've learned, when I got here, I learned to be able, I don't know, maybe because I'm married to a different tribe. Because I'm sure if I married somebody from my tribe, I don't think I would have had that room to be able to
carve your own identity.
Yeah, to carve my own, to know that my culture is to identify me, but I need to understand everything else.
Right.
You get it?
I hear you.
Yeah, so that's how I was able to like become who I am today. Right. My culture is fluid. Whichever hand that makes me sleep properly, that's the one I use for my pillow. I don't say, oh, but my right hand is my culture, so it has to be on my head. No, I don't do that.
Right.
Unfortunately, my people don't understand that. There's nothing I can do about that.
I think they understand that you're iffy.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Iffy, your migration story, you've got quite a few aspects of migration. So you're originally from the area where the Biafra wars were taking place in Nigeria. Your family has got a history of fleeing, but into Lagos within. So that
nearly died.
Yeah. And also you have this story about leaving Nigeria and coming. I mean, we've talked about you thinking the clouds.
England is inside the cloud. Yes.
Yeah. So how do you? I mean, I read those aspects about, but how does migration reflect to you? What are the There's fleeing and there's also choice. Being forced to flee and choice. How do you speak to that or reflect on that?
I would say there's a bit of luck in it as well. Because if I had flown from Nigeria Migration from Nigeria, maybe we go to South Africa, or migrate from Nigeria and go to Niger, it will be completely different experience because I will still be in Africa.
Yeah.
So maybe there won't, you won't notice that much change. There won't be room for me to make that much change in my life. But because I flew from there, running away, I'm used to running away, like I said to you, I'm used to running away from anything that is anything that is making me uncomfortable, I want to run away from it. So I ran away, but then luckily for me, I ran into where 1,000,001 people from different culture, tradition, background, everything else. Do you get what I'm saying? I remember the first time I went to college here, and I'm in college with people from Kosovo, from Croatia, and sometimes when we are in a group and we introduce ourselves, I could be daydreaming, imagining where they come from. And go, Jesus Christ, these people are coming from da, 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 da. But at the same time, them and I are going to the chip shop and buying chips and eating and chatting. I go, oh, we are all the same. There's not much difference between me and, you get what I'm saying? So learning to survive during that war, where my parents are trying to raise 6 children with nothing.
Yeah.
And all they're doing is toiling and toiling. Now, me, what am I doing? Whatever they're doing, I'm doing the same thing. Just to make sure that as far as I was concerned, if they believe we are going to survive, I believe we are going to survive. So coming away from that and coming to where diverse, I don't know how to explain it other than that. I went, wow. So if I can understand all this, I can never be in pain. Never. Not in pain as in pain per se, but I can never be, how do you say? I can't be stuck. If I don't have Jamaica friend, I have Croatia friend. If I don't have Croatia friend, I have American friend. If I don't have American friend, I have so friend. Are you with me? In other words, I began to relate to people. And that's how gradually I forgot that I was running away from something. And made my own life. Yes, that's how I lived. Lovely. And I'm glad I did.
And that life you made with Joseph Sr., you've got Joseph Jr., who is now the famous Skepta.
Yeah.
You've got Julie, you've got Jason, you've got Jamie. And they have informed this book. Everything in this book is really about those people, including your family and your existence. So how much say did they have in what you put in your book, and what did they protest against? None, because they never believed I would write it. They didn't believe. When I said I'm writing my memoir, Mom, allow it. And Gina would say to me, Mom, allow it, please. You're going to write your book. I said, I'm going to write my book one day so that you people will know exactly how I grew up. Yeah. Because it's always been something for me that I can't imagine my mom age 30. I haven't got a clue what my mom was like when she was, 20, 30. Yeah. Then I said to myself, wow, wouldn't it be nice for my children and my grandchildren to know how life was for me growing up? And I'm saying it and they're not believing me. So on the day I now went to the family thing and went, I finished my last chapter. Mom, don't publish anything. What did you write about me? What did you write about me? Don't publish anything. And I'm thinking, look at you. Do you think I'm going to write anything bad about you? But when I was saying it, they didn't believe me. They didn't inform. That's why they were all wow. Yes. That's why they're saying what they're saying there. Yeah. It's like, what? Even Jason said he didn't know that. He thought all he's seen is his mom. He doesn't know that all he's seen is the tip of the iceberg. So I like the idea that I was able to do that, so that when I'm gone, I will live forever. Absolutely. Does that make sense? So when I'm gone, my children, my grandchildren will know who I am. I didn't know who my mom's mom was. No. She passed. Yeah. Before I was born. Yeah. I knew my paternal grandmother. Yeah, but I didn't have much in common with that because of my mom. If you read where my mom was keeping us away from her, myself and my sibling, my mom doesn't want us to mix with her mother-in-law.
But I want my children, my great-grandchildren, to know, to have an idea of what their grandmother was like.
Absolutely.
So, and that's why I did that.
And you did an amazing thing here where this book has actually got her family tree from her great-grandparents,
Yeah.
which is something I think in most sub-Saharan African cultures, we orally tell people about who was where, but we don't document it as much as you did here.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a gift of life for your
It's
children.
one of the reasons why I did that.
Yeah, so this is what Skepta said here. He says, I've been hearing you talk about your biography for a while, Mommy. Only when I see you write it will I be truly happy for you.
That's it. He said that to me.
Yeah,
he said that to me. But Jamie, who is the person I regretted, said it would be regrettable if I didn't write the book.
Yeah, Jamie says, for years, all the Adenugas have been making art to keep record and tell our story at the same time. Mom, you've turned your whole existence into art and immortalized yourself.
Absolutely.
What a shame it would have been if this story was never told.
Exactly. They were wild because they didn't believe I finished. Because all you're hearing is, I'm going to write my book. It took 4 years, isn't it? 2016.
Yeah.
That's when I started putting the whole thing together.
Yeah.
From that September 2016. So when I said I finished, everybody's like, Mussolini, what did you write about me? What did you? I said, forget about you. It's all about me. It's all about me, not you.
Not about you. I think something that was slightly about them is, do you want to tell everybody the story about how you had an uncle, when you and Joseph first had your first son, you had an uncle that would come round to your home, and there's the whole Indian story. So, Skepta, forgive me, but this is coming out today. Go ahead.
My goodness. Oh my God, yeah. Again, it's to do with culture, isn't it? So I've grown up seeing moms, when they have a baby son, after the circumcision, they will use feather, bird feather, to kind of dab engine oil, the machine oil, to heal the wound.
Yeah.
So rather than me using machine oil, I went and bought car engine oil, and the thing wasn't healing. Every day my baby is crying and I'm crying. Joe will come back because Joe worked so close to the house. Lunchtime, tea break, coffee break, he comes up because of Junior. He'll come home to come and play with Junior before he goes back to work. So every time he comes, and I'm going, this child is just crying, I don't know what this is. And he doesn't know because he's leaving everything to me to look after the baby. So my uncle will come one morning and he look, in my language, he go, Chineke me, is that what you use? It's not this. And you need to see the speed. He went downstairs, went straight to the petrol station and got the machine oil. He goes, this is the machine oil you should use. I nearly killed my baby. But as soon as I used that, within 2 days, the color just changed and it just healed. Oh God, my goodness. Yes, so, and you know, as a new mom, I was learning everything. And don't forget, I didn't learn anything from home. I left home age 16, 17. So I didn't live with my parents who really observe all those. I was just on the move from east. I came to Lagos. From Lagos, I came to England. From England, I'm just hustling to survive. The last thing on my mind is how to raise a baby. So when I met him and the baby came along, he jacked in school. Forget about school. Let's look after this boy. So we just muddled along and we nearly spoiled him, but it's fine.
Lovely. Thank you.
He grew up eventually.
Please keep your questions coming. I'm going to ask you one question that's already come on screen. Ken says, should African parents teach their children regarding the history of arts, music, writers, and crafts? For example, the Igbo community have created fantastic creative people like Chinua Achebe, Ngozi Adichie, Chris Ofili, and others.
This is where my own thinking goes completely different from this idea of teach your children, teach your children. If you have seen Jamie's interview with Zizi Mills, where they was asking Jamie, how do you feel when they say black artists, they eventually marry Caucasian? My son said to them, if my mom and dad had me in Nigeria, I won't have a Caucasian wife. He's born here. It's only recently we start seeing black girls dancing with musicians. Otherwise, it used to be white girls dancing with musicians in their video. It's only recently that started happening. This idea of teaching them your language, teaching them art, teaching them, that's not where you start. Where you start is understanding them, what they want to do.
Wow.
You don't dictate to your child that you want to have a doctor. You want to have 2 doctors, 1 lawyer, and 1 accountant because you have 4 kids. Already you've gone and ordained them what you want them to be. You haven't even found out what they like doing, what they love. What is it that makes them want to learn? You haven't learned that. No. You don't teach them and find out from them what they want to do.
Yeah.
They have to tell you what they want to do because you're not living the same generation with them. That's one mistake we make in my culture, where we're trying to continue living our life through our kids. And that's wrong. Our generation is gone. It's not gone. It's our generation, we've done our own thing. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
This is their own generation. So find out from them. Now that computer is at the tip of your finger, what do you want to do, sir? Or what do you want to do, girl? Find out from them and then support that. You don't tell them what to do, because I know of family members, very close to family members, where they insist their daughter must do this or their son must study this. At the end of the day, even if they study there, at the end of the day, they're not doing anything. So what's the point? Instead of you allowing them to do what they, find out from them what they want to do.
Absolutely.
Don't dictate to them what to do. That's wrong.
Let
I know
them
you're the
try.
parents. Yeah, you trying to stuff things down their throat doesn't make you a better parent. It doesn't. It doesn't.
So that's the formula to getting 4 kids who are famous.
You don't tell them you have to be lawyer, you have to be doctor, you have to be nurse, you have to, no. Same thing happened in my generation when I came. A lot of my friends, you're going to do teaching studies. I said, yes. I said, education, I went to school, I read Lady Bird book back in the 60s, where I would see young white boy and white girl, they're all in their swimming thing, jumping in a blue swimming pool, and I'm going, hey, I want to go, gee, look at that, I want to do this, I want to do that. Yes? But because of the way I was growing up, the war, everything else, I didn't have the privilege of all that. Are you with me? So no matter what it is I wanted to do, I wanted to find out what would make a child happy, because I didn't get that.
Right.
And that's why I let my children choose what they want to do. You choose what you want to do so that I can blame you. You don't tell a child, do this, do that, do it like this, go to this, you must marry this person, you must do this. And then the day he misbehaves, you go, can't you use your brain? No, they can't use their brain. You got hold of their brain.
You've told them what to do.
You got hold of their brain. So you can't be telling them, oh, do this, do this, do this. Then you go, silly idiot, can't you use your brain? No, they can't use their brain because you've got hold of it since.
Yeah.
But if you let them have their brain, and they're doing that, Jamie, my son, sang I can't remember what song it was. He goes, when I was young, my mom used to say, Jamie, use what is in between your ear. If I tell you, Lord, to do that, half of you will be snorting this. And that's the only way I tell them off. Use what is in between your brain. In between your ears. What is in between your ears? Your brain.
Yeah.
And they understood that. So I don't have to be telling them, you have to do it this way, you have to do this, you have to do it. No. That's a mistake we make in our culture.
Right. I'm just going to get a question from the audience. John Ruathomak has got a question that is sent here. John? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. thank you.
My question was to do with the other sort of Nigerian African community around you, in terms of the way you are operating your children. Like, was there any challenges from the immediate Nigerian community? And if there was any, how did you deal with it? Judgment.
As in here.
Here, yes.
Oh, massive challenge. Of course. The fact that I was married to a Yoruba guy, I was ostracized, but it wasn't pronounced, but I felt it. Yeah, as in, ooh, an Igbo girl marrying a Yoruba man. What is wrong with? It didn't bother me. First of all, since arriving in England, 2 people made pass at me, and they are both Yorubas. So, if I said no to the first one, because I was saying to myself, over my dead body, what am I doing with the Yoruba man? How am I going to explain that to my dad? How am I going to explain that to my mom? You know, like, it jolted me to say, an Igbo girl, what am I going to be marrying a Yoruba man for? And every nuance, bad thing I have in my mind about Yoruba is what I heard. It's not something I experienced. Because I was born in Lagos. I grew up in Lagos. I went to primary school in Lagos. So when the first person came and I went, no, he went. The second person came and he's like, if I'm doing this, he's doing this. I just found myself falling head over heel. And then when I said to my uncle that I'm going out with what? You mean you're going out with the Yoruba? I said, yes, Dad. I said, yes, Uncle. I said, if I can kiss him, I can marry him. He goes, what? How are you going to? I said, Uncle, forget about how I'm going to explain that. I just love him. And I followed my heart. So because of it, I had to kind of come out, like unsubscribe from all the community meetings and and they want me there. Because if I'm not there, things are not hotting up, or things they're not enjoying it that much, because my husband will allow me to go to my people's meeting, but they won't allow their wives to go to anything. Do you get what I'm saying? Because of culture. So I was able to handle that. At first it was a pain, but as time went on, I went, listen, I'm not a married woman with 2 children. Who's paying my rent out of all these people that are telling me all this? The best thing is bad energy, like my son sings again. Bad energy, stay far away. I kind of kept it away over there, and I just followed my instincts. Nothing is going to happen to you so long as you know what you're doing. Nothing is going to happen to you. Let them, without them talking about you, they have nothing to do in their life. That's how I say it. So after a while, they left me to my device, and the rest is history, because if I have party, if I don't invite them, I'm in trouble.
Thank you so much.
It doesn't bug me at all.
May I be guided on time, please?
After 9.
On how much time I've got remaining?
It's only 9:05.
9:05. Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to talk about identity in the way of your children being British and being Nigerian, and they get involved politically in Nigeria quite a lot. How does that work for you, given that you have this hybrid way of raising your children?
We love it so much because the fact that we let them be themselves in the Western world, and they still are indeed interested in their origin. That made Daddy and I very happy. You know, Skepta got chieftaincy. They gave him chieftaincy in his dad's place.
No.
Okay.
So he's Chief Skepta.
He's Chief Skepta,
yes. Skepta, though.
Yes.
Chief Adenuga?
Chief Amuludu of Oduaje, his village. Yes, they gave him chieftaincy, and all the things they're doing back home as well through us. Like they've got football team back home. They've got created the community center for the young people, civic center for their people. They're doing things back home that you can't even yank them away from Nigeria. They just love the idea that they have a place they call home, at the same time they live here. Yeah, we love it.
And both are home.
We love it. We love the idea that they remember home.
Yeah.
But we didn't sit them down and go, you must remember hope. No, we didn't do all that. They just saw it. Again, it goes to that social culture I'm talking about. My children are born here. Yes? They see in Nigeria going Enza. They know what cruelty is.
Yeah.
They know what disadvantage or oppression is.
Yeah.
And they subscribe into it. So even if it wasn't Nigeria, if it was another country, they would subscribe into it because they know that it's against human rights to oppress anybody or to. Those are the social culture that we need to marry with our own individual culture. Yeah, until you marry social culture to yours, you're not wise enough. Because you'll be seeing everything from your own lens 24/7. Do you get what I'm saying? So I like to see things completely, not just from my lens. But if I go home, if I go to Nigeria today, if you come to my village, you will not believe I've been to England before. Because I'll blend there
You're
as
at
well.
home.
Absolutely.
That's you.
Yes.
That's you. I've been advised I've got 5 minutes to go, so can I take a question from the audience? Go ahead. Yes, Jim? Oh, sorry. I thought it was Jim. I can't see. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I
Go
can
ahead.
see him.
Yeah, Thomas.
I noticed all the children's names start with a J. Is there any reason for that?
In his family, his great granddad is Joseph. His granddad is Joseph. He is Joseph. Our first son is Joseph. So when we had Jamie, and he brought out then I was still religious. He brought out the Bible and he's chasing all the Jeremiahs and all the all the J's in the Bible. I said, no. Jonathan, and no. I said, what about Jamie? He goes, he's Scottish. I said, so what? He's a name. I said, so what? It's still J, isn't it? They even wanted me to change mine to Jiffy. I said, over my dead body. I said, I'm not a cleaning stuff. Yeah, it was Joe's idea. Instead of, in his family, is the first son that bore the J, Joseph. But he wanted all his children to share the same initial J. So that's how that came about.
Any other questions from the audience? Okay, I'm going to ask you one.
Okay.
Which one of your artist's children is your favorite artist?
Oh
Not child.
my God.
Which one's your favorite artist?
I tell you, I think this is the second or third time I've been asked that question.
And this is the first time you answer it honestly, I suppose.
No, seriously, I've always answered it honestly because unless you don't know them, they are completely different from each other.
Absolutely.
Skepta is different from JMA, and two of them are different from Julie, and the three of them are different from Jason. So I have this thing with I'm sure Daddy has the same thing with the individual one of them. Are you with me? Skepta is on a league of his own. Jamie, the same thing on his own. Julie is me with privilege. Because
I'm loving that.
Because she has all the support system. That's what I wanted to do in my life, innit? But because I was growing up in the war and the rest of it, but with her, she's got all the support system, so she's doing everything she wants to do. Jason is the spoiled brat of all them all.
Who spoiled him, though?
He's so, his IQ is out of this world. I don't know where I got him from. I have different opinion about individual one of them. And every one of their way of life suits me.
Okay, and can you sing any of their songs, the ones that do grime?
My children.
Can you do one now?
I know every of their songs.
Can you do one?
Which one do you want me to sing? Do you want me to sing? Just because we come from the gutter, we know about scraping the bottom of the butter. Don't mean we have to be sinners. Major labels don't like killers. Think, who's gonna buy it? I like that particular one because remember when Grime just came out, he had bad press. So when The Voice carried his Jamie to say, oh, he's got serious message. And I heard that one, yes, at least nobody will hear that and think grime is bad. Look at what my son is saying, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, and I can sing along majority of their song, but not all of it.
Okay.
I watch people reacting to their song on the YouTube. Even sometimes I stay up all night watching that.
Lovely. So Ife Adenuga's book, Endless Fortune, is available to purchase right now. And if you can go to ifeadenuga.com, you'll be able to purchase it.
Or any reputable bookshop. Amazon, booksellers, anywhere you go. And we got audio out and the paperback out on the 29th as well. Yeah.
Lovely. And I have to say, you will notice that everything about this is money being kept in the family, who's produced the artwork, who's published it. You know, get yourself a family like that.
I don't have a doctor, I don't have a lawyer, I don't have a nurse, I don't have an engineer. So everybody in the house is working so long as we pay the tax man, we are fine. As long as we pay the tax man, we are okay. Yeah.
Well, Ife, I think you're a phenomenal
that's
mother.
The good thing about them. They support each other, and I like that.
That's good. Yeah. You're a phenomenal mother, and
Thank you.
it's been an honor speaking to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me, Sheffield. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And everybody, thanks so much for joining us. That's the end of our chat with Ife Adenuga. Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Thank you.